Neeliyar Kottam. To the untrained eye, it is a sanctuary of peace. But if you listen closely to the wind rustling through the ancient trees, the locals will tell you that you are listening to the echoes of a centuries-old tragedy. A story of brilliant intellect, brutal betrayal, blood-soaked vengeance, and an ultimate, miraculous redemption. This is not just the story of a goddess. This is the story of Neeli, a woman who refused to let her story be erased by her killers, transforming her agonizing death into an eternal, living legend.
To understand the goddess, we must first understand the mortal. Our story begins generations ago, near the historical region of Kotior. Neeli was not born into royalty or high caste privilege. She belonged to a lower caste community, yet she possessed a mind that defied the rigid boundaries of her time. Neeli was extraordinarily beautiful, but her true power lay in her towering intellect. She was a scholar of rare wisdom, a master of languages, poetry, and logic. In a society that demanded her silence and submission, Neeli's voice was clear, independent, and unyielding. But in feudal Kerala, a woman with such sharp intelligence and independence was seen as a profound threat to the established order. Local authorities and high caste elites watched her rise with a toxic mixture of envy and fear. They could not best her in debate, nor could they break her spirit through intimidation. And so, malice took root. The historical accounts blur into folklore here, but the tragedy remains absolute. Fearing her influence, local rulers hatched a coward's plot. They falsely accused her of adultery, a crime punishable by the highest social ruin. Before she could defend her honor with her sharp wit, she was brutally betrayed and murdered. Some legends say her own father was manipulated into executing her. Others say the village elites cut her down themselves. As her lifeblood spilled into the soil of Malabar, Neeli died in absolute agony, her heart screaming for justice. Death did not silence Neeli. It unchained her. Fueled by the sheer, unadulterated injustice of her murder, Neeli's soul refused to depart for the afterlife. Instead, it tore back into the mortal realm as a fierce, bloodthirsty Yakshi, a powerful, vengeful spirit. Her grief transformed into an insatiable rage, and she chose the dark, dense forests near Manafana as her hunting grounds. For years, travelers dreaded passing through these woods after twilight. The legend says the Yakshi would manifest on lonely forest trails as a mesmerizingly beautiful woman. She would approach weary travelers, her voice sweet and disarming, offering them oil for their hair and dates to eat. But it was a fatal trap. The moment an unsuspecting traveler let down their guard, her beautiful visage would shatter, revealing a terrifying entity of pure vengeance. She would drag them into the shadows, kill them without mercy, and drink their blood to quench an unquenchable thirst. For decades, Neeli's name became synonymous with terror. She became the apex predator of the Malabar night, a manifestation of the collective trauma inflicted upon her in life.
Every reign of terror meets its turning point. For Neeli, that moment came on a quiet evening by a secluded pond. Walking toward the water was Kalakad Nambuthari, a highly revered priest, scholar, and mystic. He was a man deeply rooted in spiritual practice, possessing a mind completely devoid of fear or malice. As he approached the water to perform his evening rituals, the air grew freezing cold. From the shadows of the trees, the Yakshi emerged. She was in her alluring form, stepping forward with her familiar offering of hair oil and sweet dates. She expected him to tremble, to run, or to look at her with lust. Instead, The priest looked into her eyes and saw something no one else had seen for centuries. He didn't see a monster. He saw her immense, agonizing pain. With absolute calmness and a heart overflowing with pure devotion, the priest stepped forward. He accepted the oil and the dates. He drank the oil directly from her hands, looking at her not as a demon, but as a divine mother. He softly spoke the words, "Amruthu. This is divine nectar, provided to me by my own mother." The words pierced through her supernatural armor. For the first time since her murder, someone looked at Neeli with reverence instead of hatred or fear. In an instant, the centuries of burning rage dissolved into tears. Her terrifying form melted away, replaced
by the radiant, compassionate visage of a divine mother deity. The bloodthirsty Yakshi was dead. Neeliar Bhagavathi, the mother of the grove, was born.
Deeply moved by the priest's pure maternal reverence, the newly transformed goddess vowed to leave her dark hunting grounds behind. She chose to travel with Kalakad Nambuthari, sheathing her immense power inside his traditional palm leaf umbrella. But she had one sacred condition for her new home. She told the priest she would only reside in a place of absolute purity and peace, a place where a leopard and a cow could coexist in harmony, drinking from the same water source without fear or aggression. They journeyed far across the landscape until they reached the lush jungles of Mangattuparamba. There, the priest witnessed the miraculous omen fulfilled. In a small clearing, a predator and its prey stood side by side in perfect peace. This was the designated ground. The priest established her shrine under the open sky, respecting her wish never to be locked inside stone walls. The ancient forest canopy became her ceiling, and the earth became her floor. To this day, the 20-acre grove remains untouched by logging or modern construction, preserved entirely as her sacred domain.
Today, the spirit of Neeli does not haunt the dark. She blesses the living. Through the ancient mystical ritual of Theyyam, the goddess manifests physically before her devotees. Unlike other Theyyam performances that only happen during specific winter months, the Neeliar Bhagavathi Theyyam is performed year-round at the dusk hour, brought to life by the Vanan community. When the performer dons the spectacular 20-foot-tall bamboo-framed headdress and steps into the firelight, the transition is complete. The gaze of the Theyyam performer is fierce, yet fiercely protective, embodying both the sharp intellect of the mortal woman and the boundless grace of the Divine Mother. The story of Neeliyar Kottam is a profound reminder preserved across generations. It tells us that justice denied in life can echo into eternity. It shows us that true spiritual power does not lie in conquering with fear, but in transforming profound pain into ultimate peace. From a betrayed scholar to a terrifying phantom to an eternal mother, the goddess of the grove continues her timeless dance under the stars of Malabar.